Hello, everybody. so it's the right time, so I think I will start this presentation. But first, I want to thank you all for joining us, especially at this particular time, and also for your trust and your support at this whole time for BYD. One information to release at first for this webinar is going to be a regular event, which means we are going to give you a monthly webinar for every month, which means at next month, we still are going to hold this kind of webinars. If you have any questions, any feedbacks for this webinar during you are listening to us, you can always put your feedback in the chat box. We'll have a dedicated team here to follow their questions and answer with their response. So thank you. Thank you very much for your support to us. We are very appreciated. So this webinar is going to last for 1 hour and mainly involved in two parts. First is me, I'm going to sit in here with the screen to introduce the battery box series information. And then my colleague Joey, he will give you the live product demonstrations, including some installation tips, which is very useful and helpful. So I think everybody was here, and I'm going to strictly start our presentation. There are 5 parts for today's introduction. First is the BYD company, and then we go to the battery box evolution, which you must very familiar with. And then I'm going to explain some design concept. For the next part, we are doing the exciting premium series introduction. And also I'm going to release some very useful informations here. For the last point, I'm going to do some starting for the showcase. So speaking of BYD, many of you must be very familiar with, but still some audience from today's webinar have some questions about BYD. So that's the starting point for this introduction. BYD actually means build your dreams, but the destination or the final point for us is to bring you dollars. Yeah, just put the joke aside. So we want to make your work and make your life easier and more comfortable. Basically speaking, BYD was founded in 1995 to make nickel batteries. We started with the electronic industry, and then we expanded the range of our business. It turns out we make some progress here. By the end of 2018 and 2019, we've had our financial revenue has successfully reached to almost 19.4 billion US dollars. So BYD is also a globally business company. We had a lot of local office and manufacturing base around the world. Start from the United States in Lancaster, California, and also in South America, Brazil, in India, in Chennai, in Europe. Actually, we have 2 manufacturing base. They are both to assemble the electric buses. The headquarters of BYD is in Shenzhen, China. I hope you will have a chance to visit us in the future. We are very looking forward to see each of you. So let's go back to the point. What is BYD and what is BYD doing? We are actually a high-tech enterprise specializing in 4 different industries: autos, rail transit, renewable energy, and electronics. Next, I'm going to give you the brief introduction of these 4 different industries for your understanding. So first is electronics. That's how we start our business, to make nickel batteries. We are at the very first time, we are the supplier of Nokia and Motorola. Then we expand the business. Our partners are now coming from all the different international famous brands. As you can see on this picture, there are Huawei, Apple, Samsung, Google, and more. So the electronic is a big part of the business. Then is the BYD Auto, always say specifically BYD electric vehicles. The area we have been dominated for many years, 4 consecutive years on top of global EV sales. So here I'm taking BYD Auto and the Europe market as an example. Actually, we have entered this market for a very long term, since 1998. And for now, our electric buses has covered over 20 countries, more than 100 cities, over 1,300 units of electric buses. You can see them in Norway, in Britain, in Germany, France, Hungary, Switzerland, and also more. You may have a chance to see them and you may have a chance to take them, which also is a great honor of us. So the good news also is in this year, we have successfully get access to sell our passenger vehicles in Norway, which means to our customers in Europe, if you like battery bucks very much, if you're a fan of BYD in the future, you want to purchase electric vehicles, so the BYD can be your option. And then it's a Scario. We see the rail transit. Technically speaking, it's a monorail straddle system initially to solve the transportation problems for the middle side of the city. And then we upgrade technology. Now it works for any size city of the world. Actually, there has been one real project in the industrial park here, and I have been on it. The experience is very different because, as you can see on the picture, it's actually above the ground in the sky, so it looks very beautiful and special. And this part maybe you're concerned the most, it's the BYD battery, the area we are very sophisticated with. BYD has a end-to-end industrial chain layout from the start, the manual resource control to the R&D, the cell, the module, the pack, and also to the last part, that's manufacturing. Every process of manufacturing a battery has 100 and completely controlled by BYD technology. So let's have a quick look at the BYD battery. It's a factory located in north part of China, can produce 24 gigawatt hours annually with very automatic and intelligence systems. There are hundreds of robots with the, certain designing program, the MES information system, and also the intelligence logistics systems improve the efficiency really. Yes, and then goes through a testing part, the street conditions, the fire, the crashing, the falling, and the piercing. So that's about the BYD battery. And also for this year, as you have known, you probably have been through it. That's the something unexpected happened to us. That's the COVID-19 virus. It has the big influence to a lot of business and factories. Also does it to the BYD. So we have to make some moves, start some productions to the masks. Actually, for now, BYD can produce 100 million masks every day. We are the world's largest mask manufacturers. We want to use our help, our ability to help the people around the world to fight against this virus. By the way, I hope you all stay well and healthy and use this chance to keep safe. That's all we are very concerned. Then it's the battery box evolution. Let's have a quick view for the third generations of BYD battery box. First, with the black cabinet was released firstly in 2015, and then when the second generation, as you can see here, the modular design concept was very obvious, was released in 2017. Then for the third generations, that's the premium series was released this year. That's the whole product look like. We also was nominated to the AES Finalist Award for this year. So then it's the market share. There's a lot of story to speak, but I will save you some time. So just to simply introduce it. In 2017, for Germany energy storage systems, for top 10 brands, there is no BYD. Then after a year, we have quickly improved. We are the number 3 for the market share. And then 2019, we are number 2 for this year. According to the latest AUPD research, we are keep the number 2 positions. That's for the half year. which is also very competitive. And here, by the way, I want to thank you all for your support, for your big patience to our products, and I think with all your effort, we can keep this position strong and very competitive. So I want to thank you all for your effort and for doing this. We are very appreciate. Then this is very exciting news for us also. This year, we will choose to be the German customers' favorite energy storage brands. We are very flattered and excited. We thank our customers for your trust and support, which is really important to us. Means a lot. Thank you, guys. So BYD also received a lot of recognitions here. One time PV Magazine Top Innovation, 4 times EUPD Top Brand PV Storage. And also, we have been 3 years continually on top of the SPI rank list. So then it's the design concept. We have 4 design concepts. First is high safety, of course, then goes to reliability, the flexibility, and the usability. So for the safety, it's all we concern. It's also, of course, the first priority. There are actually 2 main chemistries popular on the market for the manufacturers, the NCM and LFP. For NCM, when the performance goes very unstable, when the temperature rises up to a certain level, and LFP is, on the contrary, is very stable, and the performance and the energy keeps very stable, which means that's the products we want to put to your home, in your family, because we value the safety the most, and it always comes first and with the first priority. Also, it's cobalt-free. So this year and for the past, we have got a lot of standards and certifications globally and locally as UL, CE, UN, and IEC. This year also, we have got the VDE 2510, the street test standards for electrical products. So speaking of reliability, we have doing some calculations here. Until this year, BYD has installed over 80,000 systems around the world, more than 56 countries with our footprint, which means the market, the customers has been tested the systems for millions of times and it's still working very well. It's a proof to our reliability for our products. And then the flexibility. We always want to give our customers the flexible choice. So we designed easy installation. You can start from 1 module and added 1, 2, 3, and more. There are only 2 people, not extra truck lift needed, just 2 people. Very easy installations, and then a very flexible extendability. You can add more modules on the system, and you can connect systems in parallel. And it will eventually grow with your family and with your demands. So also the function is very flexible. We can support single phase and 3-phase on-grid and off-grid, and most popular functions are both available at BYD battery side. For the install locations, we have IP55 protection level, which means it can install outdoors, and also temperature starts from -10 degrees to 50 degrees. So BYD battery box also compatible with almost all kinds of inverters from the market. For the most popular functions are both available at the battery side. That's the usability we want to provide to our customers. And also such as you want on-grid self-consumptions, on-grid backup, off-grid, and macro-grid. Single phase and 3-phase, they're both available on our battery. So this is the other 2 very important points. For this year, we developed applications called BConnect. You can download it from the Google Play and App Stores. It has some functions, and now we have been updating it. So now you're available to reading the SOC, the temperature, the voltage, and other useful informations. Also, a quick information for you guys, as the winter is coming for Europe, so the efficiency of PV will have some influence. Also, will give some influence to our batteries. So we've been released the firmware update. Please remind to recommend your customer or clients to do the firmware updating. And then we have another app called BCP. It's actually the BConnect version on PC side. We also add more functions and for you to explore, like diagnose function failures, the history information, and doing the firmware updating. Also, the other important functions I want to mention here is the remote service we've been planning and providing. You will see when Joy doing the live product demonstration, there will be a Ethernet port from the left side of the products. We want to recommend our customers to connect their system to the internet because it will make the after sale service more easier. We can give a quick response by doing the function failure diagnose and analyzes the system. So here's the big part. We are always listening to the market, to our customers. I want to say you are always part of our design. For this year's BYD Battery Box has been collecting the feedback from markets through our channel partners, our inverter partners, our BYD events like this webinar. So also if you have any questions, any experience in using and installing our Battery Box series products, please give us your feedback directly and we may do the upgrading by our next generations. Also, you can share this information to our channel partners, like mentioned here, and our inverter partners, like through these events, like training and exhibition, and like this webinar. So then it's the exciting part, the premium series. Let's have a quick overview for the product family. So the HV series was actually divided in two products, HVS and HVM. Then the LV and the Pro 2.5 to 10 was upgraded to LVS 48 voltage. The Pro 13.8 was upgraded to LVL. And then that's the whole product family, the HV series and LV series. Actually, there's two important part I want to mention for the HVS, HVM, and LVS. It's IP55, which means they can be installed outdoors. And for the LVL, it can be installed indoors. So the moisture and water and some dust must be avoided. So let's have a deep look about HV series first. So basically, first is HVS. HVS starts from 50.1 kilowatt hours with 2 modules, and it can be extended to 12.8 kilowatt hours with 5 modules. Maximum 3 systems can be connected in parallel. Also, one thing need to be noticed here is for parallel connections, maximum 5 modules is allowed. Then for the HVM series, the system starts from 8.3 kilowatt hours with 3 modules, and it can be extended to 22.1 kilowatt hours. Of course, maximum 3 systems can be connected in parallel. So we have also doing some improvements here, and Joy later will give you the specific details. Here I want to illustrate one point, that's the low temperature performance. For the old generations, our working temperature starts from 12 degrees. And for this one, the premium series, it starts from 5 degrees. Yeah, which extend your temperature range choice. So we also upgrade the mechanical design here. As you can see on the picture, first is the connection area. We have put 4 port here for the up to. It's the optional standard Ethernet cable port for the communication to the inverter. Then for the below 2, it's the direct parallel connections. Then we also put a compact footprint and with higher energy density for every module. The simplification reboosed screw connection. Also, we've added the LED functions, which means you can read the different battery status through the LED indicator. Then it's the minimum configuration list. Here I want to bring one point. When you're unpacking the whole system, it was on the package actually. So please be noticed that you will read this document very carefully. And we also will keep updating these documents. If you want to look for the latest version of this manual, please visit our official website or our local service website, EFT groups. Then it's the parallel connections. 2 points need to be illustrated here. First is the maximum 3 systems can be connected in parallel. So the capacity should be around 66 kilowatt hours. And then at this port, we have a junction box. And it's in the designing and will come into the market probably next year, the beginning of the next year. So then it goes to the LVL. It starts from 15.4 kilowatt hours. 2 systems can be stacked together with around 30 kilowatt hours. The maximum 64 systems can be connected in parallel. Yeah. So the LVL has a BMU. The BMU was mostly doing the communication function to the inverter and the control function to the battery systems. And then it's the parallel connection picture. You will find more details, information on our quick start manual or our operating manuals. All these documents will be found on our official website or EFT's website. Then we go to the LVS. LVS starts from 1 module, 4 kilowatt hours, can be extended to 24 kilowatt hours. Maximum 6 modules, also 16 systems can be connected in parallel. Also, ones that need to be noticed here, for parallel connection, maximum 4 modules is allowed. So LVS also has a BMU, and for LVS and LVL actually share the same BMU, but since the LVS is actually IP55, but the BMU was IP20, so we are going to release a IP55 BMU very soon. Then LVS has 3 different connection port with different dimensions. You can purchase this from our distributors, and they have the quality also. They have the qualified cable to use. The brand was HIK. Then this is the very interesting useful news here. LVS is now compatible with the Solar Edge systems. If you are looking for this package, please remind that it's now available. Yes. And then Joy will give you the live products demonstrations. So I will transfer my screen to Joy.
Okay, so thanks, Delian, for the nice introduction. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Joey. So I'm from the BYD Battery Box sales teams. Thanks everyone for joining us today. And also thank you for your time, especially during these difficult times. So we know that this year is quite tough for everyone, but from our side, we want to support as much as we can. So actually, as Delian mentioned, this is like the first time we organize this kind of webinars for you guys for the first time. But please share with us if you have any questions or suggestions or ideas, please let us know, because it's very important for us to improve in the future coming month for the regular webinars. Okay, so let's get started with the products. So as you can see, standing here, this is actually the whole premium families. So I think some of you are already very familiar with our product. So as you see, we have got the battery box premium HVS models here. And also we have got the battery box premium HVM models here. And we also have got the low voltage range, which is the about 48 volt platform. This one is the LVS, S means small. And also we have got the LVL, L means large. So these actually are our whole premium families, which actually cover a big range. So from the small residential, the minimum we have actually 4 kilowatt hours LVS model, and up to about almost 1 megawatt hours with the LVL. With the very significant scalability of the LVL, you can do almost 64 of the LVL, which almost goes to about 1 megawatt hours. So you can see, obviously, this whole series have covered a wide range of the applications. So talking about this whole platform, the whole premium series, obviously we have mentioned many times that we always listening to the market. From the first generation we launched to the market, the second generation, and even this year we launched these generations. We always listen to the market. The good thing we have is the modular design. So we keep it, we maintain it, and we enhance that. And also scalability. So for this new series, the high voltage, we still keep the modular design, but we have the double capacity, which is very exciting actually. So another one is the scalability I also mentioned. So from 1 LVL, and you can get up to 64. So basically the flexibility and the scalability are the two main features that BYD have. Okay, so I'll go through each product. So firstly, I'll start from the HV, high voltage range. So obviously you can see for the high voltage range, we got 2 models. So the reason for us to supply 2 models is that we want to give you a very flexible and also the wide range of the options. So from my point of view, the HVS is like a sedan, and then the HVM is like an SUV. So 2 different models have the different benefit for you. So for the HVS and HVM, the top unit, which we call the BCU, battery control unit, is exactly the same. And the only difference for the HVS and HVM is the battery module capacity and the voltage. So the HVS module capacity is 2.56 kilowatt hours usable energy. So please notice that we only use the usable energy. So 2.56 kilowatt hours for each module, that's the usable energy, which you can use out of the batteries. And also the voltage of HVS is 100 volt, while the HVM, the per module capacity of HVM is 2.76 kilowatt hours usable energy. And the voltage of the HVM is 48 volt range, 48 volt platform. So obviously 2 different models have 2 different voltage, which means that you have to install 1 models, which otherwise it's not gonna work because the voltage is different. So please make sure from the installer perspective, before you purchase the systems and before you install the systems, please make sure that you have the same model of the high voltage, either HVS or HVM. So for us to help you to recognize the right models, firstly, how to figure out you get the right models. We have the very clear label actually. So I may need some assistance from my colleague Delian to show you the box. So Delian, can I have your assistance? Yeah. So when you receive the battery box, you can see obviously on outside of the box, you get a very clear mark, which shows this one is the HVM. And if you also get HVS, obviously you get the HVS labels. So on outside of the box, we receive the box, you can see there is a very clear mark, so this is the HVM models. Okay, thanks, Delian. And if you, in any case, if you miss that, don't worry. On the battery, we also have a very clear to show, symbol to show you the difference. So obviously, you can see on the HVS battery modules, we get a single line mark here, which means they're small. And on the HVM models, we got the double line mark here, which means the mediums. So on the box and on the battery itself, a very clear mark to always remind you, you have to have the right model of the HV, otherwise it can't work because the voltage is different. Okay, so firstly, for the HVS model, as I mentioned, each module is 2.56 kilowatt hours. And for the high voltage, the module is connected in series to get a high voltage. And because of the inverter compatible voltage range, so we have the minimum modules of the high voltage, which Delian also show you in the presentations, is our minimum configuration list. So please make sure, from the installer perspective, please make sure before you purchase the systems to check the minimum configuration list on our website or our local service website to select the right configurations. So for the HVS, the minimum modules is 2 modules, which give you the capacity of 5.1 kilowatt hours. And the maximum for the HVS is 5 modules, which I actually show you here. So 5 modules, which give you the capacity of 12.8. And so myself, I'm 190 centimeters high. And this battery for 5 modules, the capacity 12.8 is about 1.4 meters. So it's actually a quite compact and slim batteries. And for the HVM models, each module is 2.76 kilowatt hours usable energy. And also have the minimum numbers required. And for the HVM, minimum number required is 3 modules. So 2.76 per module and 3 modules minimum, which equals to the capacity is 8.3 kilowatt hours usable energy. And the very significant features of the HVM is that you can have up to 8 modules, which give you the capacity of 22.1 kilowatt hours. Initially, we think this probably is a little bit tall for you, but we actually find it's quite interesting that on the market, there are actually quite a few installations with the 8 modules with 2 meters. It's not really high, isn't it? So as I also mentioned, for both of these 2 versions, HVS and HVM, we support up to 3 stacks in parallel. For example, if you got HVS models, and if that capacity is not enough, you can have up to 3 stacks in parallel. But for the high voltage, always make sure when you parallel the systems, each stack, each tower have to be the same modules to keep the same voltage. Because if you parallel, you gotta have the same voltage, otherwise it's not gonna work. Yeah, I think you are pretty aware of this. Yes, and that's mainly the some key data for the HVS and HVM. And I want to show you from the unbox of this battery module, the whole product actually is quite simple. And it's quite easy, and easy is actually what we are aiming for. So I also want to get assistance from my colleague Delian, who will bring these batteries. So when you purchase the batteries, you just receive. Just make sure you notice that this is the real product. It's not the dummy. So each module of the HVM is 38 kilo. So one person, very strong. One person can handle this, no problem. That's the key point of BYD batteries. So one person can handle one battery, install the batteries. One battery module is 38 kilograms. So we received the box. It's just very simple. You have some very handy menus for the quick installations here. You can see. So this is the for you guys to install the systems quickly and easily. Just make sure that you check the quick installation menus. And also we have got the minimum configuration list, just in case you didn't check online. So we also have got this one in the box. And then just the MSDS and also the battery modules. Yeah, so this is the battery modules. And that's it. Yeah. Thanks, Delian. Yeah, so when you unbox the batteries, and then you just like to stack the battery module on top of each other and screw all the batteries. And yeah, so it's basically, that's it for the installations. And the next step is to do the cable connections. For the cable connections, I also want to mention here for the HVS and HVM, because two models share the same BCU, which have the cable connection to the inverters. It's also pretty easy. So let me share with you here. On the left-hand side of the BCU, we have got isolated area for the installations. So this is how this looks like when you see from the outside. And this is the isolated area for the cable connections. And just open this one, and you see a very clear and neat cable connections. So firstly, you get all the simple instruction here, every port, how to install every power cables, connection cables. And secondly, for the communication cables with the inverter, we have got optional Ethernet cables. So here you have got the pin connections, which is quite easy to connect with the inverters. And also we have got RG45 connections to connect with the inverters. So just in case that if you have some issues with the one scenario, one option, you can try another options. So it's quite handy, it's quite convenient. And also for the power cables here, as you can see, so here you have got the positive cables. Yeah. So positive cables and negative cables, just to connect the power cables and communication cables. That's it. Another thing I want to point here is we also have got the clicker. So you can see this is the clicker. So this is to make sure after you finish all the cable connections, to make sure you cover off this cover closely, screw the cover closely. Otherwise the whole system is not going to work, will shut down, which means that the system is quite safe to operate. As long as you connect this cover closely, so make sure this clicker is there and the whole system is going to work. So obviously the whole system, to make sure the whole systems operate very safely. So after you have the cable connections, and yes, I think next step is commissioning. So one thing I want to point out is that the switch on the battery consequence. So to switch on the high voltage batteries, so please you make sure on the right hand side of the BCU, we have got the circuit breaker here. So when you switch on the batteries, please turn on the circuit breaker firstly to switch on and turn on the batteries. And if you want to switch off and turn off the batteries, so press this button. We have got this button for the premium series, which is also quite exciting here. We press the button 5 seconds. 5 seconds, press the button to switch off the batteries. So please make sure that you follow this sequence and make sure the system is running very well. And talking about this LED lighting is actually a very unique feature that this can demonstrate the status of the batteries. And if there's some issues with the batteries, so you can tell here from the LED lightings how many blue light or white light is flashing, and then we can quickly diagnose the systems and have the visual feedbacks. Yeah, and the last step I think is also quite important for you is to do the commissioning. So for commission the premium series, we have developed an app which you can download from the Apple Store or the Google Play. So just suggest and highly recommend you download the app in advance before you go to the site. So download the app which is called the B Connect. And for the commissioning, just a few steps, like to select the right model of the inverter and the right model and the numbers of the battery modules, and then to some location, the type of the applications, and just a few steps, and it's ready to go. So it's pretty easy. And another thing I want to mention, which also is quite unique and very interesting point, is that our battery, we actually can support the internet connections. So from the homeowner or installer perspective, they can see all the information via the inverter portal. But not only of that, but also from the battery, the BYD battery side of the thing, you can also access the information as long as you connect the battery to the internet. So it's not mandatory, but it's highly recommend if that's okay. So highly recommend you connect the battery with the internet. And in that case, it's very convenient for the service. And just in case you have some need to upgrade the firmware, especially in Germany or in Europe, it's gonna be winter and the PV have some like the PV outage. So we have recently developed a new firmware to better support to better protect the batteries. And if you connect the batteries, so we can remotely upgrade the firmware very quickly. You don't have to do anything with that. The new firmware can protect the batteries very, very well. So just if you really got the opportunities and you can do that, make sure that you connect the battery with the internet. Okay, so I think that's pretty much for the high voltage. So next one, I would like to move to another very exciting product, which is the low voltage. So I want to start from the LVS firstly. So LVS, we have just released to the market and we have ramped up the production. I think it's going to be landing in the market very, very soon. So for the LVS, unlike the high voltage, the LVS, each module is connected in parallel, which means that we don't really have minimum numbers for the LVS. So basically you can start from one module. So one module you can start, which is 4 kWh. And then you can go for single tower, you can go up to 6 modules. which give you the capacity of 24 of the 24 kWh. And also, we have got a very significant scalability. You can have up to 64 modules. If you have 4 modules for one stack, you can have up to 16 stacks in parallel, which give you the maximum capacity is 256 kWh. And also the LVS, one battery module is also quite slim. So it's 300 millimeters thin. So it's quite a slim batteries. And each module is 45 kilogram. So it's not very heavy given it's 4 kWh battery modules. So as you can see here, this one is like 1 point. So this have 4 modules. So if you can see here, you got 4 modules, which the capacity is 16 kWh, and the height is actually at 190, and the height is just 1.1 meters. So it's very compact and slim batteries. So the installation, I think, is also very obviously quite easy and quite simple. To just stack the modules on top of each other and then just do the cable connections. So for the cable connection, it's also very interesting, I want to say, because the LVS is developed after the HVM, we have been research and to thinking how to simplify as much as we can to make it easier, make the installation much easier. So this one is like the really plug in and play. It's really like the plug in and play installation cable connections. You don't have to open the cover. You don't have to do anything. So it's just the plug in and play cable connections. So this here is the communication cables, and here is the power cables. So only one thing I want to mention for the LVS is that because of the different inverters, you have the different power current required, which means you have different cable size. So we actually offer 3 size of the connectors as Delian illustrate. So we have, so as you see here, we actually offer 3 size of the connectors, 70 mil cable connectors, and 50 mils cable connectors, and also 35 mils cable connectors. So 3 sizes of the cable connectors, which make sure that you select the right cables and you can make easy installations. So from the installer perspective, please, when you select the BYD LVS, make sure you purchase the connectors from the distributors for the right size. So either you can purchase, I believe, either you can purchase the connector from the distributors, and also you can purchase the whole cable with the connectors from the distributors. So make sure you check with your distributors to get the right size of the connectors and have the very smooth installation of the LVS. So I think this is the main thing we want to mention when you install the LVS for the connectors. Thank you. Yeah, and also another very exciting thing for the LVS is that I think just last night or yesterday, we just announced the compatibility for the BYD LVS with the Solar Edge. So for those who have been waiting for this package for a long time, I think it's really, really exciting news for you. And the last step is the commissioning, which also very easy. So using the app BConnect, there's several steps to have the right configuration, and it's ready to go. So yeah. And the last one I want to have a little introduction is the LVL. So LVL we use a lot for some off-grid projects or small commercial projects because of the large scalabilities. So as you can see here, we actually have two systems here of the LVL. Because for the LVL, you can have one systems on top of each other, which save you a lot of space actually. So two systems, one system is 15.4 kilo hours. So two systems, you basically can get 30 kilo hours, and it's very small size. So it's 1 meter tall, and you got 30 kilo hours usable energy of the LVL. And for one system of the LVL, you just got two parts. So two modules for one system's LVL, two modules, and the total capacity is 15.4 kilo hours. And another thing I want to mention for both LVL and LVS, I want to get some assistance from my colleague, is that we got the BMU. So the BMU, battery box premium LV BMU, can control actually both the LVS and LVL. And just to make sure, like only one BMU you can control for LVL up to 64 systems. So for one installations, you only need one BMU. So this one is IP55 versions, and because the LVL is IP20, so previously we supplied the IP20 BMU, but in the future we only all swap to only one version of the IP55 BMU, which control both the LVL and LVS. And I think from the logistic perspective point of view, it's also much easier for you to organize the logistic. Okay, yeah, I think that's pretty much everything from my side. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much everything from my side for the product introductions. So as I mentioned that if you need any more topics in the future webinars, or you want to listen to more topics, just let us know, and we prepare accordingly next time. So, and I'll head back to my colleague Delian. Will give you a little bit more introduction. And thanks, guys.
So hello, everybody. Thank you, Joey, for your information sharing. And also, just one time, I will adjust the screen a little bit. So everybody, thank you for your patience. And also thank you, Joey, for your excellent explanation to the live products demonstration. So I've also noticed that there are some very interesting questions on our chat box. So also please feel free to share us your opinions and ideas. We are very happy and excited to receive your information specifically. So I'm going to repeat my point once again. This is a monthly event. We are going to have another webinar in the next month. Also, you have any suggestions, you can also put on the chat box. We'll do the upgrading and optimizations. So you may see the information you were interested to see next month. So this year, because of the COVID-19 virus, has some influence to us also. So the home service may not as fluent as it has to be. So we have put a lot of energy and attention on our official website, as well as our local service EFT's website. So a lot of documents was uploaded here. If you need any support, if you need any information, the manuals such as, you can always visit our official website or the EFT's website. That's the Online Service Center's homepage, including all the informations. You must do the registrations first, then you can ask for some support and help. So as I have mentioned before, this is a very special year for all of us together because of the COVID-19 virus. I've been watching from the news, the Germany seems to have a quarantine here, and also some countries in Europe, they are planning to do another measure to protect us from getting this virus. So I hope you all stay well and stay healthy and stay safe with us. And then like this influence to us, we can't get to Europe to have a face-to-face communication with each other. So we have built in this official website, and we have upload the documents as more as we can. So if anybody was asking you about the battery box, please help us do the introduction, because we always want you to be our spokesman, and you have been doing a very excellent job, and your perfect support to us. We are very appreciate here. So you definitely can be our spokesman, and we definitely want you to be it. So also another big news here, please to be noticed. For this year, in May of November, we are we'll have a 6 years carnival. Yes, the battery box series has been on market for 6 years, which is a big event for us. And since you have shown the great trust and support to us, so we're going to give back some benefits to our customers and to our partners. So please keep the time in your mind. In the May of November, we're going to release the event, and stay close with our social media. We'll keep updating the information and doing the announcement. We'll give you the feedbacks and the other useful informations here. Please keep the time in mind. It's in November, May of November. So we have been collecting some excellent showcase globally. And here's someone I want to share you here, very interesting. First is HVM compatible with coastal inverter. It was installed in Italy. Very beautiful cable planning here. And the other was HVS with also coastal, was installed in Italy. Then it goes to another one, was HVS 10.24 kilowatt hours with Fronius, was installed in Australia. And then is another one, HVM 20 with 22.1 kilowatt hours with Fronius inverter, was installed in Austria. So here was the HVM 11 kilowatt hours with SMA Sunny Boy inverters, was installed in Germany. Then for the LVL was compatible with SMA, was installed in Australia. Also looks very interesting. We have both the LVL 52 LVL systems, which 30 kilowatt hours around with Victron inverters. Then here, the system was installed in South Africa with LVL 46 kilowatt hours, compatible with Victron inverter. So I think that's all the information for this webinar. By the end of this time, I want to thank you for your trust and your support to us, which really means a lot and very important to us. And two things need to be remembered. First, this is a monthly event, which means we'll keep updating the informations. For next month, there will also be a webinar. So please stay close with us and with our social media. You will see the registration information. The other big thing is, for May of November this year, we're going to release the B Partner Program, and we'll give some benefits to our customers. Yes, just please remember the time. So that's all about this webinar. If you have any questions, any feedbacks you want to give to us, your idea, opinions, please share on the chat box. We'll have a dedicated team here. And thank you all for your time and for your listening. I hope you guys all stay well and stay safe. Thank you. Oh, by the way, after this webinar, you guys will send the documents of this PowerPoint. Yeah, and any other information if you need, just send us an email or put your request on the chat box. Yeah. So I guess that's all. Thank you guys for your time. I'll see you in next month. Thank you.